Hey everybody, thanks for joining into the YouTube world, my channel for the Salvador journey. I'm sitting down with Nate today, and I'm going to try to do this thing where I sit down with different people before I leave and just kind of go through asking them to come up with 3 questions for me before this trip to kind of shed some light for people who maybe don't know what's going on, or if maybe these are questions that you might have for me, just to try to be transparent and try to answer some things about what this trip looks like. So if you're interested in doing that with me, sitting down and having a couple of questions asked, I'm excited to do that. So reach out to me. So I've asked Nate to prepare 3 questions for me. So I'm going to be transparent. I have seen the questions, so I've been able to prepare a little bit, but so it's not totally blindsided. But yeah, so this will just kind of be a question and answer thing for you guys and for Nate as I get ready to take off on this adventure. So go ahead, sir.
You ready for them?
Yeah.
In all fairness, I did not, give you easy questions either, so this is going to be fun. All right, so the first question I have is, as we understand, discipleship is before we come to Christ and during and after as we continue on. So could you share with us, or give us some general ideas or examples of your discipleship with Christ? So before, why you were decided to follow him, and obviously it's different now than I'm sure it was before, but just show us that, give me that discipleship journey and why that was, give me the general ideas of why.
So for me, I guess even part of my story is, and we talked about this morning a little bit, but I had a very selfish lifestyle. I was blessed with a good paying job. I was blessed with, houses and apartments and cars and all the things that we want. And it wasn't really, I was raised in a Christian house. My mom tried really hard. She, took us to church, things like that. But it never really set in. And until my parents started getting sick, it never really set in. And when my father got sick and passed away, I had reached the end. I was done with myself. I didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't know what made sense. I didn't know how any of this was fair. So I guess that's where the real decision came in, to do something different. And through people in my life at that time, I was able to start going to church and start having a relationship with God and get baptized and do these different things. And then the discipleship thing took over of what does that look like to change. And so for me, as I thought about it, the biggest change for me was putting the textbook quote of the end of myself in the beginning of what it looks like to live like Jesus and do the things that Jesus wanted us to do. So for me, the focus has been not focusing on myself and focusing on others. So that's kind of how I feel like I'm trying to walk out the discipleship, is just to care more about other people and how I can help other people versus worrying about myself.
Nice, cool. Yeah, because discipleship is really just completely, especially as a Christian, it's completely giving yourself over to what Jesus wants you to do. So no longer you're thinking about yourself, you're thinking about other people, which is true Christianity in a way. Cool. So that leads into this next question. So why now, 2019, you decide, I'm going to do this thing in El Salvador and not all the years past? That, I think, is a huge question that at least I want answered.
Well, I guess the answer to that is, why not? No, that's the easy one, right?
Why not? 2 years ago.
I had a really awesome conversation with someone. I won't call out by name, but if you're from the Hilliard area, you've probably eaten some of his donuts. That's all I'm going to say. You guys might know that guy.
Yeah, it's good.
And it really put it into a nutshell for me. We were talking just about this, and he said, I think it's really cool that we have these moments in our life where, in all the chaos and all the madness and all the things going on and all the voices and all the sounds and all the distractions, all of a sudden you have that moment of clarity. And it may be a 15-second thing, it may be a 30-second thing, but you have that moment where you're like, okay, I see it. And that's really what happened. It was Good Friday before Easter. I was at church serving, and the message just really hit me hard. And as I look back on it, this has been in my heart for a while.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we've all
stirring, wrestling.
Yeah.
No one I've really talked to. This comes as a surprise for them. It was more like, oh yeah, it's about time. But for me, when he said that, it made total sense that in that moment in church, I could almost identify that moment of clarity where it just became so overwhelming for me that I saw that path. I had that moment. And, so that was a really cool way of putting it, that, I've just reached that point where I was given that moment of clarity, and it wasn't a choice. And I guess that goes back to the discipleship thing of, this is something that I feel God has shown me, and I then have the choice of I can do it or I cannot do it. And that was what he said, was that it's cool to see somebody have that moment and know what to do with it versus having to wrestle with it more, or just putting it to the wayside. So I guess that's why now is I just had that moment, and I've just, God's made me brave enough to say, okay, I see it. I'm gonna take that step.
Nice, cool. All right, this last one is through this journey, what you're going to be doing. Obviously, people are going to be praying for you, rooting for you, funding you through the Patreon link, following you on YouTube. What are you hoping to pass on to them? What examples are you wanting them to take away? Because this is really for you. Obviously, Jesus is telling you to do it. You're doing it. But in everything we do as people, we kind of leave ripple effects in people's lives. What are you hoping to pass on to other people as they're watching you go through and be part of this journey?
I guess for the people who are watching, the people who are partnering with me, I want to be a good steward. I want to, I just want to be able to show that, like I say, that this is all part of my testimony, my story, but that God uses broken things.
Yes.
That God, no matter how far gone you think you are, or how far estranged you think you are, that God still has a purpose. God can still use you to do different things, to help other people. You're not gone. You're not too far gone. And that people will be able to watch that and get some kind of bravery out of their own life. Doesn't mean you have to leave the country and go be a missionary, or doesn't mean you have to give up things that are, that are good, to you, that you enjoy. But maybe it'll give them a moment of bravery in their life to take a step and do something different. On the other side of that, I guess, on the ground there, is I just want to be an example to what it looks like to have somebody stand in your corner. I look like, I feel like God is standing in my corner on this, and that's what I want to do in El Salvador. It's become overwhelming and just dumbfounding to watch the way the people there in Daniel's group stand in these other people's corners, to believe in them, to build into them, to show these kids, hey, there is something else. Hey, and if you're willing to fight, I'm going to stand in your corner with you. So I think that's what I want to try to be the example of on the ground there, and what I want to be the example of to the people who are here watching.
Nice, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate your questions.
So thanks guys for tuning in and watching. Try to keep it short. We're right about 8-9 minutes, so not too bad.
Yeah, good job.
Hope I've been able to keep your attention span. Again, thank you for watching this. Thank you for the people who have done stuff on Patreon. I'll put those links in the bio for the YouTube page. Thanks for the people who are watching on YouTube. Thanks for the phone calls, the texts, the prayers. I appreciate it. And I will line up my next victim for the 3 questions. I think I have a couple people already in mind that have mentioned it. So thanks. Have a good week, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.